Today, let's go back in time to the summer of 1966 in the land of fog. That year, the Argentina National Team brought to England a generation of the most talented players in the history of South America, writing an emotional but also controversial journey at the 1966 World Cup, with a playing style that blended skillful individual techniques of tango with the stubbornness and cunning known as la garra. They convincingly passed the group stage. However, that journey became a historical scar in the quarterfinal match against the host England at Wembley, the match that people still refer to with the phrase, the theft of the century, or the captain's unfortunate red card. More than half a century has passed since that fiery summer. Time has swept away everything like a flood, carving different fates in the lives of those young men. Some became immortal legends. Some chose a life of seclusion. And there were also stars who died too soon in tragedy. Right now, let's listen to the story of the lives and fates of the Argentine soldiers in 1966. Antonio Ratin is more than just a midfielder. He is the heart, the lungs, and the soul of the team. At 29, Ratin stands tall like a beacon in midfield. With his towering height and authoritative style of play, he is a natural leader, ready to rush into any hotspot, fight mercilessly, and control the tempo of the match with a cool head. The image of Ratin trudging out of Wembley, crushing the British corner flag and sitting on the Queen's red carpet, after receiving an unjust red card, has become a symbol of resistance and national pride for Argentina. His performance is more than just football. It is the affirmation of his position as a leader who never bows his head. After that fateful summer in England, Ratin's career continued to be tied to the blue and yellow of Boca Juniors. Surprisingly, throughout his entire football career, El Rata played for only one club, Boca Juniors. He became one of the greatest one-club men in history, winning countless national championship titles and leaving a legacy of absolute loyalty. After retiring in 1970, Ratin did not choose the coaching path immediately but turned to a completely different field, politics. With his prestige and influence, he was elected and served in the Argentine Congress from 2001 to 2005, bringing his fighting spirit on the field to the parliament to protect the rights of the people. Ratin's personal life was a model of stability and steadfastness, just like his playing career. He lived a scandal-free life, respected not only for his talent, but also for his gentlemanly demeanor, whether on the pitch or off. Ratin was always the leader, a family man, and a community man. Juxtaposition between his role as a rock on the pitch and a steadfast politician off the pitch is the clearest testament to his character. Always a support for others. Today, at the age of over 80, Antonio Ratin has retired to enjoy the countryside, living a peaceful life with his children and grandchildren. Although his steps have slowed, the captain's eyes still light up when he talks about Wembley, 1966. He often appears in the media as a living witness, an epic of Argentine football continuing to inspire loyalty and courage to the younger generation. Luis Artime was Argentina's sharpest spearhead at the 1966 World Cup. At 27, Artime was at the peak of his career. With 3 goals in the tournament, he was the embodiment of a classic penalty box killer. No frills, no frills. Just a moment of lapse from the opposing defender was enough to punish him. Artime's keen positioning and versatile finishing skills terrorized European defenses, proving that South American football was not only about technique, but also about deadly efficiency. After leaving England, Artime's career continued to flourish, but it was also linked to adventures beyond Argentina. He moved to Brazil to play for Palmeiras, and then became a living legend in Uruguay with Nacional. Here Artime reached the pinnacle of his fame, winning the Copa Libertadores and the Intercontinental Cup in 1971. He was the type of striker that any team would crave, a man born 1971 to score goals, His life was a journey, and wherever he went, he left his mark with important goals. Off the pitch, Luis Artime was a quiet and modest man, in stark contrast to the noise his goals created on the scoreboard. He built a disciplined family, and his passion for football was passed on to his son Luis Fabian Artime, who later became an idol at the Belgrano club. Artime lived the life of a devoted man, knowing how to balance past glory with a calm present. His coldness and decisiveness in front of goal seemed to contrast with his calm and gentle nature in everyday life. Today, long after retiring from football, Luis Artime is enjoying a peaceful retirement. He rarely appears in the press, choosing to live away from the hustle and bustle of the modern football world. However, whenever mentioning the greatest strikers that Argentina has ever produced, the name Luis Artime is always mentioned. With all respect, he is proof that a hero does not need to be in the limelight to be remembered. Roberto Perfumo, nicknamed El Mariscal, the Marshal, was the epitome of defensive brilliance. At 23, Perfumo played with the demeanor of a seasoned veteran. Not only was he strong in the tackle, he also had a genius reading of the game and ball-handling skills that rivaled those of midfielders. Perfumo redefined the role of a central defender in Argentina. Defending was not just about clearing the ball, but also about initiating an attack. His performances in England in 1966 made the world bow down in admiration to a rock who could dance. Perfumo's career was a series of glittering glories. He was a mainstay of the great racing club team that won the 1967 Intercontinental Cup, the first Argentine team to do so, and then continued his success in Brazil with Cruzeiro and returned to Argentina with River Plate. After retiring, Perfumo opted for a long-term coaching career instead, turning to a career as a football commentator and sharp analyst. With his profound knowledge and laconic delivery, he became one of the most popular voices on ESPN's Spanish version. He also graduated in social psychology, demonstrating a keen intellect off the pitch. Perfumo's life is a model of an intellectual, successful, and fulfilled man. He is respected by his colleagues, loved by his audience, and proud of his family. He always appears with a refined appearance, a gentle smile, and philosophical football stories. It seems that life has favored the Marshal with a happy ending after years of glorious fighting. He still works hard, still appears on television to share his love of football, and is still healthy and clear-headed. However, that glorious journey had to stop abruptly and painfully. On March 10, 2016, Roberto Perfumo passed away at the age of 73 after falling down the stairs at a restaurant in Buenos Aires. His sudden departure was a huge shock, leaving a huge void in the hearts of Argentine fans and media. His legacy is not only the titles, but also the image of a gentleman of football, a talented but ill-fated legend. Silvio Marzolini, who was voted by experts as the best left-back of the World Cup that year. At the age of 25, Marzolini brought a romantic beauty to the defensive position. With flowing blonde hair and a handsome face like a movie star, he played gracefully, attacking and defending rhythmically, and rarely had to resort to rough fouls. He was proof that football was not only a combat sport, but also an art. Marzolini that year not only stopped the opposing strikers, but also captivated the hearts of millions of spectators. Marzolini spent his entire playing career at Boca Juniors, where he became an immortal legend. He turned down numerous lucrative offers from European giants, including Real Madrid and AC Milan, just to play at La Bombonera. After retiring, he turned to coaching, and was the one who led Boca Juniors to the championship in 1981, the season when the legendary Diego Maradona shone most brightly in the club's colors. Marzolini was not only a great player, he was also a teacher and a big brother who guided the golden boy. In real life, Marzolini is known as a gentleman, modest and loyal. He has a peaceful family life away from all scandals. His image on the pitch, a defensive artist, has strangely translated into his life. Always beautiful, neat, and full of self-respect. He spends most of his time after retirement participating in Boca Juniors' community activities and enjoying the joy of his children and grandchildren. He is a symbol of a pure and eternal love for the round ball. However, the law of birth, aging, sickness, and death spares no one. On July 17, 2020, Silvio Marzolini breathed his last at the age of 79 after a long battle with serious illness. His passing left the entire football world in mourning, especially those who loved Boca Juniors. He passed away. But the image of the gallant defender with flying blonde hair at Wembley in 1966 will forever be a beautiful, indelible memory. Hermindo Onega played the role of the brains and playmaker in Argentina's attacking system in 1966. At 26, El Ronco, the guy with the hoarse voice, possessed blistering speed, superb individual technique, and a sharp tactical vision. He was the perfect link between the midfield and striker Luis Argentine, creating beautiful combinations that tore apart the opposition's defense. At the 1966 World Cup, Onega scored a goal and made countless brilliant passes, demonstrating his class as one of the best number 10s River Plate had ever produced. Onega's career then continued with River Plate, where he became one of the club's greatest ever strikers. Despite playing in a deep-lying position, formed a formidable partnership with his younger brother Daniel Onega. He later moved on to play for Peñarol Uruguay and Vélez Sarsfield. Onega is remembered as an intelligent player who played with his head and his feet. A gentleman on the pitch with a generous and dedicated playing style. Onega's personal life is quite private. He is loved by his friends and teammates for his gentle, sociable personality and his willingness to help others. After retiring at the age of 37, Onega began to enjoy a simple life away from the spotlight and planned to participate in youth training to pass on his valuable experience. He is the type of person who lives fully with passion, but does not let fame blind him, always keeping himself calm in life. However, fate dealt a cruel blow to the artist's life. On December 21, 1979, while driving with his family to the city of Rosario, Hermindo Onega had a tragic traffic accident. He died on the spot at the age of 39 when his post-career life had just begun. The sudden departure of El Ronco was a great tragedy for Argentine football, robbing him of an outstanding talent and a great personality at such a young age. Antonio Roma was in charge of Argentina's goal that year, nicknamed Tarzan for his spectacular saves. At 33, Roma was the most solid support mentally for his teammates. With his superb reflexes and ability to control space, he kept a clean sheet in 2 out of 4 matches. At the 1966 World Cup, Roma was not just a goalkeeper. He was a real warrior in the goal, ready to throw himself at the opponent's feet to protect the net. His solidity helped Argentina become one of the hardest teams to beat in the tournament. Roma's career was an epic one at Boca Juniors, where he played over 300 games and became a legend. His penalty save from River Plate's Delham in 1962 became one of the most iconic moments in Argentine football history, directly bringing the championship to Boca. After retiring in 1974, Roma remained closely connected to football, but did not pursue a professional coaching career, instead devoting his time to business and supporting former players. In real life, Tarzan Roma is a gentle man, in contrast to his fierceness on the field. He lives a simple life, loves his family, and is respected by the BC community for his integrity. He regularly participates in charity matches and is an exemplary image ambassador. His life passes peacefully without any major events as a reward for years of dedication on the field. On February 20th, 2013, The legendary Antonio Roma passed away at the age of 80 due to old age and poor health. He left behind the infinite regret of his fans, but also with peace. His legacy is the image of a real-life Spider-Man who devoted his life to protecting the goal and protecting the beautiful values of sport. Oscar Pinino. Mas was the youngest member of the 1966 Argentina squad. At just 19 years old, he carried the enthusiasm and recklessness of youth with a very skillful left foot and the speed of a racing car. Mas was a dangerous drill on the wing. Despite his young age, he was not overwhelmed by the big stage, but played confidently and aggressively. The performance of the 19-year-old boy that year was an affirmation of a great talent who would shine brightly in the future. And indeed, after the 1966 World Cup, Pinino Mas's career took off. He became a legend at River Plate and one of the greatest strikers in the history of the Argentine National Championship. The peak of his career brought him to Europe to play for Real Madrid, a rare honor at that time. In Spain, although his time was not long, he left a strong mark. Mas's career was the journey of an attacking star who always found joy in scoring goals and performing. In real life, Oscar Mas is famous for being a funny, talkative, and somewhat witty person, just like his nickname, Pinino. He has a colorful life with many interesting anecdotes. Although he has been involved in some small financial troubles or made shocking statements after retiring, he is still a person who loves life and is loved by his fans. He always talks about the old days with excitement, as if it happened yesterday. Today, at the age of over 70, Oscar Mas is still alive and well and regularly appears on football talk shows. He acts as a storyteller, a living witness, who brings laughter and nostalgia to the audience. The passion in the eyes of the 19-year-old boy has never been extinguished. Only now it burns through the stories he tells to the next generation. Jorge Solari, nicknamed El Indio. The Red One was a hard-working and powerful midfielder for Argentina in England in 1966. At 24, he played the role of a perpetual motion machine on the right wing, tirelessly attacking and defending. Not as flashy as Onega or Artem Solari won over viewers with his enthusiasm, discipline, and great team spirit. He was an indispensable piece to maintain the balance in the team's playing style. After retiring, Jorge Solari proved that his footballing mind went beyond running. He became a famous coach, leading many big clubs, and even taking the Saudi Arabian team to the World Cup group stage for the first time in 1994. But his greatest legacy is probably building a football empire with the Solari name. He is the uncle of Santiago Solari, former Real Madrid player-coach Esteban Solari, and father-in-law of Fernando Redondo. He nurtured and built one of the most prestigious football families in the world. Solari's life revolved around football from morning to night from his youth until his old age. He founded the Renato Cesarini Club, a famous youth academy in Argentina, which produced Javier Mascherano and Martin Demichelis. He was a devoted teacher, a true educator who always worried about the development of football in his country. His life was a relentless dedication from the role of a hard-working winger to a great architect. Today, at his old age, Jorge Solari has not yet fully retired. He still follows every step of his children and students, still plays the role of a prestigious professional advisor. His journey is a living proof that a player not only shines on the field, but can also sow the seeds of green forests in the future. Roberto Ferrero, affectionately known as Pipo, was a symbol of solidity and iron discipline. At 31, Ferrero was one of the most experienced players in the squad that year. He played all 4 matches at the 1966 World Cup with astonishing consistency. without flashiness or ostentation. Ferrero was like a solid wall, silently breaking down the opponent's attacks. He was the one who kept the rhythm, the safe support for his teammates to shine. After the tournament in England, Ferrero's career continued to be etched into the history of the Independiente club. As a living legend, he was an exemplary captain, lifting 2 consecutive Copa Libertadores trophies in 1964 and 1965 before the World Cup, and continued to be a mainstay in the years that followed. But Ferrero's talent did not stop at playing football. After hanging up his boots, he became a brilliant coach. He was the chief architect of Independiente's rise to the top of the world with the Intercontinental Cup in 1973. After defeating Juventus and of Argentina's return to the 1974 World Cup after a shock absence in 1970. Off the pitch, Pipo Ferrero was a man of humility and dedication. He never boasted about his great achievements. His life was tied to his family and his undying love for the red shirt of Independiente. He lived simply, was respected not only for his talent, but also for his noble character, always cared for the younger generations of players, and maintained the integrity of a teacher, an exemplary senior. His steadfastness on the pitch seemed to reflect who he was in life, a pillar that never wavered in the face of storms. However, the journey of the old guard also had to come to an end. On April 20th, 2017, Roberto Ferrero passed away at the age of 81. His departure left endless sorrow for the Independiente family and Argentine football. He left taking with him the image of a gentleman of defensive football who had devoted his whole life to silent but glorious dedication. Rafael Albrecht, a young man from Tucumán, was a special figure in the 1966 squad. At 24, he started 3 games and left a violent mark, literally. Albrecht was a hard-nosed central defender not afraid of contact. His most memorable and most forgettable moment of the tournament was his red card against West Germany for a foul on Wolfgang Weber. The image of Albrecht leaving the field in a huff became part of the sometimes excessive La Garra fighting spirit of Argentina at that time. However, it would be unfair to remember Albrecht solely through his cards. After the World Cup, he became a San Lorenzo legend as a member of the undefeated Los Matadores team of 1968. The strange thing about Albrecht is that despite playing as a center-back, he was also a prolific penalty taker. He scored 95 goals in his career, an incredible number for a defender, and most of them came from the spot where he rarely missed. He then moved to Mexico with Club León, where he also became a legend. Albrecht's career was a mixture of steely defense and ruthlessness from the penalty spot. Albrecht's personal life after retirement was quite peaceful, but also had its ups and downs. He settled in Buenos Aires, once tried his hand at the auto parts business. In contrast to his fierce appearance on the field, off the field, Albrecht was a quiet and introverted person. He rarely appeared in the media, choosing to live a reclusive life and reminiscing about the glorious days with his old teammates. It is said that the fierceness on the field was just a cover for him to protect the goal. But inside was a sensitive soul of a son of Tucumán. On May 3, 2021, with the world reeling from the pandemic, Rafael Albrecht breathed his last at the age of 79 after 2 weeks in hospital with severe pneumonia. His passing is a reminder of a fading generation of steel central defenders whose every scar on their bodies is a medal of courage. Alberto Mario González, also known as Gonzalito, was one of Argentina's most enduring engines in England in 1966. At 24, he played all 4 matches. He didn't have the technical prowess of a striker, but González had a nickname that said it all: El Ventilador, the fan. This referred to his tireless movement, fanning the team, creating spaces for stars like Marzolini and Onega to shine. He was the kind of player who quietly sacrificed himself, doing the hard work to keep the team running smoothly. González's club career was tied to the golden period of Boca Juniors in the 1960s. with over 200 games for Boca. He won 3 national championships. Gonzalito embodied the Boca spirit, fighting until the last drop of sweat. After leaving Boca, he had a short time playing for Banfield, before retiring. Although he was not the brightest star in the sky of fame in the eyes of coaches, he was always an irreplaceable strategic card. After retiring, Alberto Mario Gonzalez lived a very normal life, just like his quiet personality. He avoided the spotlight, did not participate in football debates on television, or pursue a professional coaching career. He chose the life of a loyal fan, following his old team from the stands or on the TV screen. That humility made people appreciate him even more. A hero, without a cape, a hard worker who devoted the best years of his youth to football. Not long ago, on February 26th, 2023, Alberto Mario Gonzalez passed away at the age of 81. The departure of the fan of the year was quiet but left deep sadness for the older Boca Juniors fans. They remember him as a symbol of dedication, who proved that in football sometimes the runs without the ball are the most important. José Omar Pastoriza, or El Pato the Duck, was named to the 1966 squad for England at the age of 24, although his on-field role at that tournament was not particularly prominent due to the fierce competition. It was a stepping stone for him to step into the spotlight. Pastoriza was not only a talented midfielder with the ability to control the game and strike thunderous free kicks, he was also a natural leader. He was the head of the Argentine Footballers Association, Agremiados, leading the historic 1971 strike to demand the rights of the players. His boss aura was evident even as a player. Pastoriza's greatest career came in the next chapter when he became a coach. He is an immortal legend of Independiente, who led the team to countless titles including the Copa Libertadores and the Intercontinental Cup. He is famous for his winning hearts and minds style of management, knowing how to win the hearts of his players and inspire them. His motto, "Go on the field and play like men," has become a guiding principle for many generations. Pastoriza's life was always vibrant and passionate. He was sociable, loved to party, loved the nightlife, and was always the center of every party, but behind that rough exterior was a burning heart for football and for his colleagues. He lived every moment to the fullest, loved and hated clearly, and always protected the people he loved. His generosity made him friends everywhere, from top stars to ordinary service staff. However, that passionate heart suddenly stopped beating. In the early morning of August 2nd, 2004, José Omar Pastoriza died of a heart attack at his home in Buenos Aires while he was still the head coach of Independiente at the age of 62. The passing of El Pato was a great shock, leaving the whole of Argentina in shock. His funeral was one of the biggest in the football world, where thousands of people came to say goodbye to a leader, a great big brother. Hugo Gotti, nicknamed El Loco, the Madman. At the 1966 World Cup, Gotti was just 21 years old and a backup goalkeeper for Antonio Roma. Little was known about the young man then, but just a few years later, he would change the very concept of a goalkeeper. Gotti didn't just catch the ball. He played it. He often rushed out of the box, used his feet as a sweeper, wore colorful outfits and headbands on his long, flowing hair. He was a pioneer, the embodiment of innovation in goal. Gatti's career lasted until the age of 44, an impressive record. He became a legend at Boca Juniors, River Plate's arch rivals where he played. He was the hero in the penalty shootout that won Boca their first Copa Libertadores in 1977. Gotti turned every match into a personal show where he was both the main actor and director. His talent and madness created a strange attraction, making the audience both scared and extremely excited every time the ball came to his feet. Gatti's personal life is as strange as his way of playing goal. He is straightforward, not afraid of verbal clashes, and has very unique views on football, sometimes going against the majority. After retiring, he did not choose peace but continued to rush into the center of attention. He became a famous football commentator, especially in Spain on the program El Chiringuito. There, he still maintained his strong personality, often making shocking statements and heated debates. Today, at the age of 80, Hugo El Loco Gotti still lives a vibrant life, traveling between Argentina and Spain. Despite his gray hair and health threats from COVID-19, which he has won spectacularly, his arrogance and passion for football have never cooled. He is still there on the TV screen, continuing to fight with words, proving a free artistic soul that will never be bound by age or conventional rules.